You're listening to Swift News, your daily news briefing in just 10 minutes. This is episode 68, and it's July 10, 2025. Let's get into today's stories. We've all seen the headlines flash by, moving at lightning speed. But here at the Deep Dive, we take those very same stories and unpack them, uncovering the underlying connections and true significance that often get lost in the daily scroll. Our mission is really to help you, the listener, understand not just what is happening, but why it matters and what its ripple effects might be. Okay, let's unpack this.
That's right. And today we're going to explore quite a range of critical developments, everything from, immediate challenges like environmental disasters and geopolitical tensions, right through to these profound shifts in our global economy and, importantly, the resilient human stories emerging from communities worldwide. You'll start to see how these seemingly separate events are often actually incredibly interconnected, and how they shape not just the larger global landscape, but directly influence your daily life and, your future.
Let's start with a stark reality impacting communities right now. Those devastating floods in Texas. The Hill Country has seen 119 confirmed deaths. It's a truly tragic situation, and it exposes some critical vulnerabilities. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, and what's truly unsettling about this tragedy, beyond the immediate loss, is how it's brought these broader systemic failures to light. The disaster revealed an alarming failure of flood sirens across the region. This has actually prompted a state-level probe into the warning systems.
A probe, right. So it's bigger than just this one event.
Exactly. This isn't just about the terrible loss of life right now. It raises these critical questions about our infrastructure, our preparedness for extreme weather events, and ultimately what that means for your safety, really, regardless of where you live. It just underscores this vital need for robust, reliable public safety mechanisms, things that are routinely tested and maintained. What's fascinating here is how a local tragedy can uncover broader systemic vulnerabilities, raising an important question about infrastructure and preparedness.
And while Texas is grappling with that, we're seeing tensions escalating elsewhere, particularly around borders. In Camarillo, California, for instance, federal agents clashed with protesters during an immigration raid. They even used tear gas. It really highlights that your borders are tense.
And if we broaden our view just a bit, these kinds of incidents, they really underscore the complex and often deeply emotional discussions happening globally around national identity, around belonging. We see this not just in the U.S. Look at India, where Odisha's Trinamool Congress Party is claiming that 444 detainees are actually internal migrants from West Bengal, not undocumented immigrants, as authorities might suggest.
So a distinction between internal movement and crossing international borders.
Precisely. These aren't isolated events. They reflect these ongoing societal debates about who belongs, about national identity and the movement of people, whether it's across international lines or even within a single country. If we connect this to the bigger picture, these events underscore the complex and often emotional discussions around national identity and belonging.
The tension isn't limited to land either, is it? There's a palpable rise in geopolitical friction in the skies as well. We saw this just recently when a Chinese JH-7 fighter bomber buzzed a Japan Air Self-Defense Force plane, that's the ASDF. Tokyo lodged a formal protest. It definitely feels like your skies are tense.
Yeah, these aerial encounters are significant in international relations. They often act as a kind of barometer for geopolitical friction. They can signal territorial disputes, maybe test the boundaries of air defense zones, or sometimes they're just a calculated show of force. The risk of miscalculation, of escalation, it's always there if these aren't handled very carefully through diplomatic channels. That act of buzzing is inherently provocative.
And speaking of friction, political decisions are creating some significant economic ripple effects now. We're seeing former President Trump propose these quite drastic 50% import tariffs on Brazil, citing issues with Bolsonaro's treatment. That really indicates your trade shifting potentially in a big way. So what does this all mean for global economies?
Well, this proposed tariff on Brazil, and remember, it's alongside similar proposals for 6 other countries, it's sparking widespread global market jitters. It's not just about, say, the cost of coffee or soy from Brazil. This kind of tariff uncertainty can seriously disrupt established supply chains for huge multinational corporations. It leads to hedging against currency swings, maybe a slowdown in long-term investment. For you, the listener, this can directly impact things like major pension funds, your investment portfolios, maybe even individual savings over time, because businesses and investors get cautious, right? And that creates volatility. It makes your investments wobble.
And closer to home, for some listeners perhaps, there's the situation in Bihar, India, where a revision of the electoral roll is sparking Supreme Court scrutiny. This has direct relevance because it touches on your vote, the integrity of the process.
Exactly. Ensuring fair and accurate voter rolls is fundamental to democratic processes everywhere. Any questions around that process deserve careful examination.
Okay, let's dig a bit deeper into these economic shifts. Staying with those market dynamics, we're seeing significant battles for corporate control. Take Fiji Media in Japan, adopting anti-takeover measures against the investor Yoshiaki Murakami. It shows how your markets face battles internally, too.
Oh, absolutely. These corporate control struggles, they have significant implications for market dynamics generally and for investor confidence. When major companies like Fuji Media get into these kinds of fights, it creates uncertainty for shareholders, it can signal potential instability within an industry. It really highlights that constant tension between, activist shareholders pushing for change and the established corporate leadership. It influences how companies are run, how they're perceived, and ultimately their long-term strategy.
And shifting back to India, discussions about updating the National Population Register, the NPR, are gaining traction. There's talk of aiming for a fully digital census by 2026. This feels like a big step in how your data is evolving.
It is a big step. Large-scale digital initiatives like this, they definitely offer immense potential for efficiency. Think faster, maybe more accurate demographic insights for planning. But, and it's a big but, they also raise critical questions about individual data, privacy, and security. Finding that balance between using tech for better public administration and safeguarding huge amounts of personal data is a crucial challenge. Governments worldwide are grappling with this, and it really needs public input.
We're also seeing some bumps in the road for major industries. Tesla's planned India plant, for example, is facing delays, and that's hitting their supply chain plans. For consumers, it could mean your EVs may wait longer than expected.
Yeah, that's a good example of how interconnected the global manufacturing landscape is. Delays in one region, especially for a major player like Tesla, can have knock-on effects on suppliers, on production timelines, and ultimately on consumer expectations worldwide. It highlights the complexities of just-in-time global supply chains.
But it's not all delays and battles. There's some incredibly positive economic news, too. Look at Bangalore's startup hub, a record $2 billion in Q2 funding. That's April to June. It really shows your innovations soaring in some areas.
Absolutely. Innovation hubs like Bangalore are just vital engines for future economic growth and opportunity. They attract this amazing mix of talent, capital, and that entrepreneurial spirit. It creates an environment where new ideas can move really quickly from just a concept to actually being in the market. This leads to job creation, technological leaps, and it has a huge positive impact on the broader economy, boosting global competitiveness too.
And maybe more immediately felt by many of us, some good news for the wallet. Global oil prices are dipping. OPEC boosted supply. That means your fuel costs ease, hopefully.
That's right. It's a pretty straightforward supply and demand situation. More supply usually means lower prices, assuming demand stays relatively stable. For the average person, this translates into, well, tangible savings at the gas pump. It eases household budgets, and when fuel costs drop, it can ripple through the economy, potentially lowering transport costs for goods, maybe even boosting consumer spending elsewhere. It's a direct benefit filtering down from global forces.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about the human stories that inspire, that reveal societal needs, and give us a feel for the cultural pulse around the globe. In Chennai, India, there's this wonderful story of a teacher running a free coding boot camp, specifically helping children from slum communities. It's just such a powerful reminder that education changes lives.
It really is. It highlights the profound power of individual initiative, doesn't it? And community impact. It shows how focused efforts, even on a local scale, can create real pathways for economic mobility, for social betterment. It underscores how access to knowledge, especially skills like coding, can genuinely transform futures and help break cycles of poverty. Just fantastic.
And circling back to the Texas floods we talked about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
beyond the systemic issues, the human stories emerging are just incredibly profound. Survivors are sharing these narratives of immense loss, but also incredible resilience.
Yeah.
It's hard not to feel that your heart's with them.
Absolutely. These personal accounts, they powerfully underscore the enduring strength of the human spirit when faced with unimaginable tragedy. They serve as such a vital reminder of our shared humanity and the remarkable capacity for communities to just come together, support each other, and begin that long, hard process of rebuilding. It really highlights the strength you find in collective solidarity.
And there are other inspiring examples globally, too, like a Kenyan farmer using solar-powered irrigation to boost crop yields significantly. That shows how your food security grows through local ingenuity.
Exactly. Local solutions addressing global challenges.
Or a Brazilian teenager whose art, made from recycled materials, is winning global praise. It makes you want to ask, young creators, what's your vision?
Right. It shows how local ingenuity, local artistic expression can gain international recognition and inspire others. It's fantastic.
And in Delhi, we're seeing street vendors taking collective action. They've launched a cooperative to fight against eviction threats. It illustrates how your community fights back, how people organize to protect their livelihoods.
That highlights the critical significance of collective action, especially for vulnerable groups. When communities organize to advocate for their rights, it doesn't just protect their immediate economic interests. It also sets important precedents for broader social justice movements. It ensures marginalized groups actually have a voice, have agency in decisions that directly impact their lives.
Let's turn our attention now to global health, a truly critical topic. We're seeing measles cases hitting a 30-year high globally. That's alarming health officials everywhere. It's just a stark reminder your vaccines matter. So what does this all mean for public health on a global scale?
Well, this surge in measles, it's a really worrying sign. It points to potential gaps in global vaccination efforts, and that could lead to a comeback of other preventable diseases too. It really underscores how fragile public health gains can be if vaccination rates drop. But there's also a contrasting note of hope. A new AI-driven malaria vaccine is showing impressive results, 85% efficacy in trials. This really suggests your health's future brightens with technology.
85%, wow.
It's very promising, and this raises an important question. How do we effectively leverage these incredible technological breakthroughs like AI to tackle these persistent global health challenges more effectively? And crucially, how do we ensure equitable access for everyone, everywhere?
The environment also remains front and center. We see Mumbai's air quality worsening significantly because of monsoon delays. That's a direct hit on public health, on daily life. Your lungs need care in places like that.
A very immediate, tangible impact.
Yet, in contrast, there's the exciting discovery of a rare, previously unknown coral reef off Australia's coast. It reminds us that your oceans hold secrets, incredible wonders we haven't even found yet.
These contrasting reports, they really highlight this ongoing dialogue, don't they, between the pressing environmental challenges we face, like air pollution, and the planet's vast, often hidden natural wonders. While we grapple with urgent issues, discoveries like new reefs remind us of the immense biodiversity still out there, and just how critical global conservation efforts are. It's both the threats we face and the amazing natural heritage we need to protect.
And finally, let's just quickly touch on the global cultural pulse, those moments in sports entertainment that kind of unite and excite us. We've got India's cricket team gearing up for the third test against England, with Rishabh Pant eyeing a record. Huge passion there.
Always massive in cricket.
And in football, LA Galaxy's new signing, Marco Reus, setting up a goal already. In wrestling, AEW Collision is previewing the big all-in event. Nigeria's women's basketball team qualified for the Olympics. Fantastic achievement.
Great stories across the board.
Then you have things like the Edmonton Oilers trading a key prospect, testing Connor McDavid's patience, maybe. Hokkaido's lavender fields drawing tourists in Japan. Even Wordle number 1488 was BRS, apparently challenging people.
Keeps the brain working.
And WWE SmackDown, trending on X, those persistent Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce engagement rumors.
Can't escape those.
And Bollywood dropping the teaser for Pathaan 2. It's a real mix.
It is. And all these moments, from the intensity of world-class sport to celebrity news, viral games, movie buzz, they contribute significantly to our collective global experience. They offer shared narratives, things to talk about, moments of excitement or anticipation, a sense of connection that often cuts across borders. Even amidst all the serious global stuff, these elements provide common ground, maybe a welcome distraction.
What a truly remarkable range of insights we've covered in this deep dive. From those critical global challenges like the Texas floods and escalating geopolitical tensions to the nuanced shifts in our global economy and those deeply personal human stories of resilience and innovation we heard, understanding these connections, it really feels key to navigating an increasingly complex world.
Absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it becomes really clear that staying informed isn't just about knowing individual facts or headlines. It's about understanding the interconnected forces shaping our world and ultimately shaping your future. Every news report, every cultural trend, every scientific breakthrough at all has ripple effects that touch us all in some way.
Couldn't agree more. So as you reflect on what we've discussed today, maybe consider how these diverse global headlines might spark new ideas or perhaps even actions in your own community. Stay curious, stay informed. Join us next time for another deep dive.